Hello again, every pony. It's that fat brony, and today I'm going to read Chapter 3 of The Great Brony Migration. And, yeah, I know it's been over a week since it came out, but I've just been, lazy, because, I don't know, just didn't feel like doing it. But anyway, I'll just get on to reading it now, so, Chapter 3, Harmony. Rainbow Dash watched the White Pegasus foe very closely. 3 times on this trip, short as it was, she had to pull some quick tricks to save this silly pony's life. Didn't make any sense to her. How could a fully grown Pegasus be so careless? She made rookie mistakes left and right, and all she did was laugh and keep flying. Rainbow shook her head, the emblem of loyalty glinting on her neck. Wah! Foe shot upwards and banged hard to avoid colliding with Rainbow Dash. Rainbow easily avoided the thermal column, looking askance at the danger-prone Pegasus. "What'd I tell you about those?" she scolded. Foe corrected her wild turn, flapping hard to get back into formation. Sorry, between excited breaths. I could have sworn I knew where that one was. She puffed out a strand of wayward hot pink hair out of her face. I'll be more careful next time. Rainbow face hoofed. Next time? That's what you said last time this happened. She did a quick loop around the rookie flyer. Look, see how simple that is? It's all about angle. Get the right angle and turn just a bit. She demonstrated again, shifting the angle of her wings away from Foe and gently turning off to one side. She reversed the maneuver in the same fashion, gliding back to Foe. If you get caught in a thermal, you can ride it out too, you know. Foe flashed her a quick smile. Okay! So, Rainbow Dash flipped upside down, flying above the other Pegasus. How long have you been flying? Foe gawked at her. How did you do that? Do what? She rolled effortlessly, right side up, falling into position on Foe's other side. Fly upside down? That's easy. I'll show you later. Maybe when I know how much experience you've had. Rainbow gave her a pointed look. I've been a Pegasus for a little over a year now. We weren't able to fly like you guys do here, like I am now. It's a lot easier here than it ever was on Earth. The highest I could ever get was about 50 feet from the ground. By then I was so tired I had to glide back down. Even that was hard. When you say 50 feet, how high is that? I guess, well, a foot is about this long. She held her hooves up. So, I don't know. It's not nearly as high as we are now, that's for sure. That was a strange concept to wrap her head around. Flying? Hard? What is this Earth place like, anyway? Only a year, huh? What do humans look like? Do they have wings? Foe giggled. No, we don't have wings. We don't know how I could describe us without having pictures for you to look at. Well, I guess I'm not human anymore. Not technically. They, don't have wings or hooves or coats or even tails. They walk on 2 legs all the time. Rainbow cocked an eyebrow at her. So they're human? There are no humans that can fly? You are all like Earth ponies? Yep, no wings, Foe said. We made lots of machines to help us move around. We even made flying machines called planes. Rainbow snorted, the image of Pinkie Pie's flying contraption popping into her head. Sounds like a lot of work. She scrutinized the other Pegasus from back to front, an amused expression spread over the face. I guess you do okay for a rookie. Foe's face lit up. Really? That means a lot to me coming from you. Rainbow gave her a smile, but Foe's remark made her think, what would it be like to know you could fly, but the ground held you back? She shivered at the thought. Cereal fell down shudder after shudder. It wasn't all that cold up here, but it was shaking like it was 20 below. So, if there's no magic on your world, how do you open a portal? Twilight sat next to him on the chariot behind the princesses. Applejack, Rarity, Pinkie, and Seth were bunched up around them. Cereal clenched his jaw to keep his teeth from shattering as another shiver ran through him. We found a way to bridge the gap between our worlds. We don't have magic, but we do have science. We needed to match the gravitational resonance between our 2 places. He had to stop, the convulsions getting worse, stronger, and more frequent. Cereal waited for them to fade before continuing. Gravity is special. Aside from being a cosmic force, it is both the weakest and strongest force in the universe. That's because it's transdimensional force, so it sacrifices influence for mobility. When we understood that, we were able to hypothesize that if one were to match the frequency at which gravity phases between 2 places, he would be able to bypass space and time. He looked around at his companions. Twilight's face was scrunched up in thought. Applejack stared at him blankly. Rarity had one eyebrow nearly in her mane as she looked at him in bewilderment. Pinkie Pie smiled at him, and Seth just shook his head. "Dude, science talk doesn't work here," he said with a wry smile. Seth addressed Twilight. "It's like teleporting, only the energy to do it doesn't come from magic. We use electricity and a lot of math instead." Twilight tapped her chin with a hoof. I don't think I understand. I know what you're saying. It's just I can't grasp how you're able to do it. Did you try to come here before this? How did you know where to go? How did you become ponies?" Serial sighed, rubbing one foreleg with the other. "We've been here, in Equestria, before. We made a small portal, big enough to send one through at a time. As humans, we could stay here for only 30 minutes before we were forced back through. In that state, our resonance clashed with that of Equestria's, so we made another machine that would change our physical resonance to match here. That is what made us ponies." A new wave of convulsion struck. He fell to the floor of the chariot, legs stiff and eyes wide, gasping for breath. "Princess Celestia!" Twilight called out. Celestia turned quickly to them. The moment she saw Serial on his side shaking uncontrollably, she hissed, her face contorting in alarm. "Stand back, Twilight! Seth!" She looked to the yellow unicorn. He too was shaking, though he had more control of his convulsions. "Come closer, Pinkie. Can you help him?" Sorry. I don't know what's going on." Pinkie gently pushed him forward, closer to Celestia. Twilight scooted back with Pinkie. "What's wrong? Is it a disease? Was this what you were talking about earlier?" Her hooves flew to her mouth, ears flat against her head. "Please, Twilight, calm yourself. This is not something dangerous to us, but it is to them." Not once did the initial alarm enter her voice. "Seth, what are you feeling?" Cold and hot at the same time." His teeth clattered. He hugged himself and tucked his tail around his legs. "Does it hurt?" Celestia asked him in the same even and collected tone. Seth jerked his head side to side in a quick shake. No, it feels amazing." Celestia nodded. "Luna, I will need your help with this." Luna turned to her sister. "Very well." Both of their horns came alight with magic. Seth gasped and fell to the floor, joining Serial. Serial tried to regain control of himself, but the convulsions consumed every attempt. He had the sensation of falling, like the world was dropping around him rather than he from it. It was terrifying. It was wonderful. The alicorns continued to concentrate on the stricken ponies, the glow from their horns becoming brighter and brighter. Ever so slowly, the world stopped falling. Serial's shuddering began to slow. He started to blink. Sweat appeared on the brows of the alicorn sisters, but they did not blink. They did not stop. Their horns, too brilliant to look upon, started dripping liquid light. Soon the shivers disappeared completely, leaving Serial and Seth breathless on the floor of the chariot. Serial weakly pushed himself up on his front hooves. Pinkie helped Seth sit up. Thank you." Serial was still swaying woozily side to side. Twilight put a hoof on his shoulder to steady him. Luna addressed him. "How long have you had this form, Serial Velocity?" 2 days, I think." She frowned. "This is troubling, sister. Do you think the onus has already started to take hold?" Celestia shook her head. "It is more likely that they are reacting to us, Luna. Their bodies have been deprived of the experience of magic, one that normal ponies are exposed to even before birth." Serial furrowed his brow and looked at his hooves. "What did you do to us?" "We have given you a buffer, a sort of shield to our power. Magic surrounds us always. You're not used to it, so your bodies became overwhelmed. That you are unicorns makes the situation worse. You should have gained a magical affinity long ago, but as you said, there's no magic in your world." Celestia turned to survey their surroundings. "Your camp is not far now. Are you feeling better?" "Yes, very much, thank you," Serial replied. Seth nodded in agreement, though he still looked unsteady. "Charioteers," Celestia called to the 4 Pegasi pulling the chariot. "Land on the rise to the right." "Right away, princess." She turned back to Serial. "Gather the Bronies together. There's much to discuss." "Should I take them anywhere, or do you want to talk to them here, princess?" "Here is fine. Luna and I must keep our distance, however. We will wait for you on the rise and address them in the meadow below." The chariot touched down on the grass-covered hill. They disembarked the grand vehicle just as Foe, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy alighted next to them. "Did you see me?" Foe squeaked, giddy with excitement. "I flew like 10 miles. Barely even broke a sweat and rode a thermal column. It's just so You two aren't looking so good." She finally noticed him, coats ruffled and manes disorderly. at least Cereal's disheveled mane. Seth's was looking only a little more crazy than usual. We need to gather every pony here in the meadow. Cereal waved away an attempt by Foe to ask a question. I'll explain later. Can you fly ahead and get started? Seth and I are right behind you. All right, she sighed. Seth started plodding towards the camp, but Cereal hung back for a bit. Princess Luna? Yes. If I may ask. He stopped and waited politely. She gave him a small smile. You may. What were you talking about earlier? You said something about an onus? She considered his question, then looked to Celestia. Cereal had the impression of another silent conversation. The onus is an ancient part of magic that governs this world. To explain would take much time. Time I hope we have. First, we must see in what state your followers are in. He grimaced. Thank you, Princess. He bowed to them, and then started on his way to the camp. The sun climbed close to its zenith by the time Cereal, Foe, and Seth started up on the rise to join the princesses in the main six again. The excited whispers of thousands of ponies filled the air with a rustling of restless wind. Celestia motioned them to join the main six with a sweep of her hoof. Luna stepped forward to the crest of the rise, spreading her wings wide. The gathered bronies hushed instantly. So what happens now? Seth whispered to no pony in particular. Princess Luna is going to speak to the crowd, Twilight answered. Wait, does that mean she's going to... Bronies of Earth! The crowd exploded in a clamor of voices. Luna stepped back, startled by the thunderous applause of the bronies' hooves stomping on the ground. A rhythmic march began to form. Throom, 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 throom. As it coalesced into a steady beat, a great midnight blue banner appeared in the crowd, hoisted on a long pole. Cereal groaned. How did they smuggle that over here? Great. Just great. He sat down and covered his eyes with his hooves. Supporters of the new Lunar Republic started chanting with her march. Vivat nocte! Vivat nocte! Yeah, I don't speak Latin, so I don't know if that's how it's even said. Yeah, at least I'm assuming that's Latin. Luna stepped back on the rise and addressed Cereal with a bemused expression. What is this they do, Cereal Velocity? She didn't sound angry, but she wasn't pleased either. It's a game they play, Highness. He tried to smile, but it probably only made him look sick. A game, you say? What do these words mean, the ones they chant? His head sagged on his neck. It means, long live the night, in an old language of Earth. The game is about two sides, the day and night. They are always trying to one-up the other team. Luna narrowed her eyes at him. One-up the other team? Cereal let out a nervous laugh. Yes, they try to outdo each other. Don't look now, Seth warned under his breath. The Imperials are getting into it. Sure enough, the gold and white standard of the Solar Empire rose over the other side of the crowd. The Lunars finished their chant with a triumph. Omnis laudum Luna! The march of the Imperials began, a quick, sharp rhythm. Throom, ch, ch, throom, ch, throom, ch, ch, throom. Their chant started on the offbeat. Diu Solaris. Celestia lifted a hoof to her mouth to hide a smile. Luna gave a small chuckle. And what does this one mean? Long live the sun. Gloria and Celestia! The Imperials stomped on the ground with a final and resounding thud. Cereal cringed again. I hope you are not offended, Princess. It really is just for fun. Luna stooped to look him in the eye. I am not offended, Cereal Velocity. Their enthusiasm, this happiness, it is a good sign. She raised his head with a hoof under his chin, giving him a reassuring smile. Luna turned to the meadow, spreading her wings once again. Bronies of Earth, your sentiments please us. However, it is too early to celebrate. There are demons that haunt us all, Cereal Velocity. Celestia's voice suddenly whispered in his ear. Some are far more real than others. He looked to the princess. She sat several feet away, gazing over the crowd. Trying times are ahead for all of you. The coming days will test you. The coming nights will challenge you. Be prepared to face your demons. Harmony will demand it of you soon, of all of you. Fear not, for we will not abandon you. We have accepted your petition, and now grant you the rights and privileges due to the faithful subjects. That is what the onus is. Your responsibility to Harmony cannot be ignored. The balance has been shifted, and you are surviving by the skin of your teeth. Do you accept our rule? The huge body of Bronies cheered, sounds of joy crashing under the hills, against the hills, and trees startling a few birds from the forest nearby. Another shout emerged from the den, gaining voices as it swelled. Sororis regalis! Sororis regalis! We will teach you and protect you the best of our abilities. Ultimately, it is up to you to fight for yourselves. They are quite fond of this ancient language of theirs, Luna remarked, startling Cyril. He was absorbed in Celestia's whispers. They seemed to reverberate in his mind. Yes, Princess. It holds a lot of meaning to us. I don't know why. No pony speaks it fluently, at least not that I know of. Celestia's laugh chimed like long bells. I think it's quite lovely. We should have to find a pony who knows this language and add it to our records in Canterlot. She regarded the ponies in front of her, much like a general would her best soldiers. There is much work to be done. I will be counting on all of you to do your best. Cyril Velocity, she stood in front of him. I am hereby appointing you as steward of the Bronies and emissary of the court. Flo and Seth, you are appointed emissaries of the court. She began walking slowly down the line of ponies. Twilight Sparkle, as bearer of the element of magic, you will teach the unicorn Bronies how to use magic properly. Twilight bowed her head in acceptance. Applejack, as bearer of element of honesty, you will aid our brothers and sisters in discovering what it means to be part of harmony. Applejack removed her hat and bowed. Rarity, as bearer of the element of generosity, you will teach them how to conduct themselves with decorum in our society. She swept a low curtsy to the princess. Fluttershy, as bearer of the element of kindness, you will be the shoulder on which they can cry when needed, and the ears that will hear their joy when possible. Rainbow Dash, as bearer of the element of loyalty, you will be the foundation of the ideas of their new life here in Equestria. Teach them how to be steadfast in the face of doubt. Rainbow Dash sat up straighter and saluted. As Celestia reached Pinkie, a broad smile graced her lips. Pinkie Pie, as bearer of the element of laughter, you remind them in their times of sorrow or despair that there is always a reason for happiness. Pinkie beamed ear to ear. The pink party pony pranced around the edge of the Brony camp. The moon shone brilliant and pale, nearly full, in the multi-hued night sky. So many new ponies, she could scarcely believe her incredible luck. It had been taking so long for them to get here, she was starting to lose hope. But the moment she heard Twilight was looking for her earlier today, her Pinkie senses went wild. Then again, they'd been going off quite a bit for the past couple of days. She bounced around the curious tents and odd contraptions the Bronies had brought from their world. None of them noticed her. It was a strange thing she could do, among others, that when she did not wish to be seen, she simply wasn't. It could have been that she'd gotten so good at throwing surprise parties that she just knew how to avoid detection. Or it could have been the result of the day, nearly 11 years ago, when she first started at Sugar Cube Corner. Up in the attic of the confections shop, she was looking for the perfect bauble to put on top of her latest cake masterpiece. The whole day, her senses told her that she would find something wonderful, and she was certain the wonderful thing was hidden in the dusty corners of the attic. She never did find that perfect bauble. Her senses never lied, for she did something wonderful. Dust motes floated lazily in the sunlight streaming through the small window in the front wall. She covered head to hoof with dust bunnies and cobwebs. The entirety of the attic was full of boxes and crates, even some furnished with protective sheets thrown over them. Hoofprints crisscrossed the floor, marring the thick coating of gray and brown grime on the floorboards. There were lots of cool stuff in the cake's attic, but none of it was the right kind of cool she needed for her centerpiece cake. She took a deep breath. A mistake. Dust flew into her throat and nose. The one deep breath became two, then three. Achoo! The force of her super Pinkie sneeze threw her into the far side of the small attic. The boxes toppled to the floor and on top of her in a rumble of cardboard and papers. Pinkie, are you all right up there? Mrs. Cake's voice pushed itself up the little ladder opening and through the dust. I'm fine, Pinkie coughed back. She waved a hoof in front of her to clear away the gray blizzard. What's this? A glimmer of gold sparkled in the thin shaft of light from the window. She waded her way through the sea of boxes to the golden object. Getting low to the floor, she inspected it. It was round and fluted, like a fancy foot to an antique chair. She picked it up, or at least she tried to. There was more to it. She threw aside the grimy white sheet covering the strange object, prompting another furious storm of dust. The sight before her took her breath away, or the dust did. She tried to look at the wondrous thing before her through watery eyes and coarse coughs. She stumbled forward. A click sounded at her hoofstep. She looked down in confusion. A silver button, almost the perfect size of her hoof, was mounted on a gold plate that extended from the base of the thing. The golden ball she saw earlier was attached to the outside corner of it. An identical one on the other side. She got her first good look at the thing. It was a large golden door frame. The outside of the frame was covered in a script she did not recognize. A spitting hiss issued from the doorway. She stepped back. Blue lights whirled around it, stirring up the dust in a sideways tornado. The inside of the doorframe filled with the whitest light she'd ever seen. So pure it hurt to look. The wind picked up speed, pulling her towards the door. Her hooves scraped against the floorboards in a vain attempt to escape. With a yelp, she fell into the blinding light. That day, 11 years ago, Pinkie saw a sad world full of sad creatures. One of those creatures saw her. Pinkie did what she does best. She smiled. The smile that grew on the creature's face made her so happy she knew she needed to find some way to help them. She couldn't have been there for more than a few minutes before she fell back through the golden door. Pinkie found herself staring at one particular Brony, sitting next to his tent. He was a light green Pegasus who didn't look like he had someone to talk to. In his hooves, he held a picture frame, from an angle. She couldn't tell what the picture was in it, but whatever it was, he frowned at it. She made several trips to the doorway. She met many of the people of that world, but the most memorable one had called herself Lauren. She skipped over to the lonely Brony. "Hiya!" She jumped at her sudden salutation, prompting a giggle from her. "I'm Pinkie Pie. What's your name?" He smiled back at her, placing the picture frame on the ground next to him. The warm, familiar feeling she had got when she knew she had brightened some pony's day filled her pink heart right up to the brim. And that's the end of Chapter 3. I don't know why, but I really want to know more about this green Pegasus. So, Lyconius, if you, watch this video, fucking hurry up! Because I really like this story. So, every pony, if you, enjoyed this second reading, be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, what have you, and, see you again soon. See you again soon. See you again soon.